Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how to write your own book and publish it. Writing a book is such a rewarding process, but it can also be frustrating if you don't follow the right steps. By the end of this video, you'll learn some of my biggest tips for staying on track with your book writing, and 2 great options for sharing your book with the world. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a resource that I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. Writing a good book takes time. It's not easy. It can be maddening, it could be frustrating, it could be challenging. It's going to force you to confront so many different internal blocks and obstacles and doubts and fears. But there's so much opportunity that comes on the opposite side of publishing your book. If you can fight through those challenges, if you can fight through the things holding you back, it can open up a world for you that you were only dreaming about, that you want to have but isn't available right now. The right book can really change your life and transform so many different things for you, but it requires you to stick with it. And it requires you to be vigilant about writing a good book. It's not enough just to put a book out into the world and think it's going to do everything you want it to do. I've seen so often where authors will rush the process, will cut corners, will just try to do everything they can just to get a book out as quickly as possible, and it doesn't have the impact. It's not about taking time necessarily, it's about doing it the right way. Writing the right book, writing the best book, and challenging yourself to dig deep. And you can do it. You can definitely do it. It's in range, but you really need to be vigilant about the process. Because so many of the challenges and obstacles of book writing are internal, there are things that we need to overcome. You need to, in a sense, take a self-inventory and understand how you get work done, how you get work completed. I would even think about a project you did that was successful, that you were able to complete. What was successful about it? How were you able to get the work done? By doing the self-work and understanding how you work best, you can then focus on short-term, small, incremental goals and making progress and building momentum. When I work on a book, I typically focus on word count goals or chapter milestone goals that I accomplish every week. Maybe it's 2,500 words, maybe it's one chapter, but every week, word by word, chapter by chapter, I'm making progress. That's really what this is about. It's about making consistent and steady progress. Rome wasn't built in a day, and your book is not going to be written in a day, hopefully. It's a good book. It's going to take longer than a day to write. But at the same time, every single day, you're going to get closer to that goal. But think about it this way. If you want to write a 100,000 word book, I'm not saying that you have to. A lot of great books today are 40 to 50,000 words. But if you write 275 words every single day in 1 year, you'll have a 100,000 word draft. That's a really special thing. And if you're thinking about this giant milestone, it's impossible. But if you're thinking about daily incremental progress, you can make it happen. Homework is also required. Do your homework. It's not so much fun, but it's great to be able to do research and understand what purpose your book serves, who it targets, and why it's not being serviced anywhere else. Making sure that your book is unique to every other book that's ever been published. It's got to be a little bit different in some way to every other book that's ever been written. You really need to tap into what makes your book different and unique and be able to share that, be able to lean into that. Find the thing, find the uniqueness. Maybe it's the uniqueness within yourself that you're bringing out, but find the unique message that you have to share, and doing so will allow you to find a lot of success. Earlier in this video, I talked about not cutting corners, and that really comes into play in the process after you've written your draft. It's one thing to write a draft, it's another thing to publish it as a book. And if you cut corners in the editing process, that's where you can really find yourself putting out a book that's substandard or isn't as strong as it could be. So you want to work with professionals. You want to work with professionals regardless of the publishing path you choose, because you want your book to be as high quality as possible, so when somebody reads it, they carry that message forward with them. They can really tap into that and feel it. You want them to be connected to this story. You don't want them to put it down and say, this book was disappointing or disjointed. You want it to fit together, and you want it to be as strong as possible. So when you work with different professionals on bringing it forward, not to say that you can find an editor or a designer that you might not have a lot of book experience, but you want to find people who are experienced in those areas. One resource that you can use on that path is actually a website called Readsy, readsy.com. It's a marketplace for book professionals. So if you need an editor, if you need a designer, if you need somebody else to help you along the way, that's a great place to look. They have a very high threshold of getting approved to be a professional on that site. 97% of people don't get accepted, so they only accept 3% of people. Thankfully, I recently got accepted as a ghostwriter, so I'm really excited about that. But I was one of that 3%, and it took me 5 years and 30 books to be able to get there. I'd previously applied and not gotten accepted, so I know how high of a threshold they have for professionals. You want to work with professionals. You want to work with people who know what they're doing. They're going to help you carry that book forward. They're going to help you think about things that you haven't thought about with your book and bring new ideas to it. You want to be able to have as strong of a release as possible. And by cutting corners, you're kind of hindering your book's success. When you think about bringing your book forward, there's typically two different tracks to publication. One is the traditional path, and that requires a book proposal, which is a 20 to 50 page document. You work with a literary agent. A literary agent promotes the book and markets the book and pitches the book to publishers. Publisher then signs on, blah, 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 blah. This is a long, complicated process, as you can see. It really adds a lot of steps and obstacles and challenges. It can be very exciting to traditionally publish a book, but you can have a very successful launch and not go that route at all. You can actually self-publish. So many CEOs and thought leaders and professionals actually self-publish their book. It's a lower threshold to publish. There's not as much gatekeeping. You don't have to worry about having the right platform or social media followers to be able to publish your book. But again, there's give and take to both of them. With the traditional process, you get paid upfront as an advance against future royalties. And when you self-publish, you cover cost out of pocket to get to the publication. But after the fact, you actually get a higher percentage of money from each book sold. So the money kind of evens out in the end. I've followed both paths. I really enjoy self-publishing. It's just easier. And you have more control over the process. It can be a lot of fun. But again, it's one thing to self-publish. You want to have the guardrails in place. You want to work with professionals. You want to have a high-quality product. The higher the quality product, the better the impact you're going to have. So you want to make sure that your message is as strong as possible. You want to make sure that your book is as high quality as possible, and working with professionals, regardless of which path you choose for publication, is going to help you get there. If you want to learn more about how to write your own book and publish it, you definitely want to watch the next video. I'll link to it on the screen. In that video, I cover how to pick the right book topic, book foundation work, and sticking with it when you face those struggle points. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.